Many TV shows had great pilot episodes, and either got better after them or gradually declined, but there have been some cases where a TV show's pilot was weak, but it got better after that. A show's pilot episode can make it or break it, to the point where many TV shows don't make it past their pilot episode. Some of the best TV shows of all time had great pilot episodes and were able to maintain that good quality or even surpass it, while others couldn't match it. There have been some special cases, however, where a TV show had a weak pilot episode, but they proved they had a lot more to offer and greatly improved. The Big Bang Theory credit, CBS via MovieStillsDB. Created by Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady, The Big Bang Theory is a sitcom that aired on CBS for 12 seasons, between 2007 and 2019. The Big Bang Theory follows physicists and roommates Leonard, Johnny Galecki, and Sheldon Cooper, who live across the hall from waitress and aspiring actress Penny, Kaylee Cuoco. Accompanying Leonard and Sheldon are their friends Howard, Simon Helberg, an aerospace engineer, and Raj, Kunal Nair, an astrophysicist. The Big Bang Theory, then, follows their dynamics, with their clashing personalities, different views of the world, and the many fun situations they get involved in together and individually. The pilot episode of The Big Bang Theory focuses on the social awkwardness of Leonard, Sheldon, Howard, and Raj, and sets the basis for the romance between Leonard and Penny. The pilot feels rushed, the jokes forced, and the characters very stereotypical, but luckily, The Big Bang Theory just needed some time to find its rhythm. Mad Men. Mad Men went on to become one of the best TV shows of all time, and, at the same time, part of the list of controversial TV finales, but its pilot episode doesn't match the quality of the rest of the show. Created by Matthew Weiner, Mad Men takes the audience back to the 1960s and into the fictional advertising agency Sterling Cooper, in New York City. Leading the show is Don Draper, John Hamm, Sterling Cooper's creative director and junior partner. Draper is one of the most successful men in the world of advertising, but he carries a heavy past, dark secrets, and unpleasant habits. Mad Men explores Draper's struggles as well as the social issues of the decade, such as sexism and racism. Now, Mad Men's pilot episode isn't bad, but it's not a strong one, either, and that's because the show went on to be even better. Titled, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, the episode has been criticized for forcing its themes, exaggerating its characters, and over-explaining all of these issues that the rest of the show fixed. Seinfeld. Seinfeld is one of the best sitcoms of all time, but it doesn't rank among shows with great pilot episodes. Created by Jerry Seinfeld, the show focuses on a fictionalized version of himself, and follows his everyday life alongside those of his friends George Costanza, Jason Alexander, Elaine Benes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Cosmo Kramer, Michael Richards. Seinfeld is famously known as a show about nothing, but it proved that even nothing can be funny. However, the show had a weird start with its pilot episode, in which Jerry isn't sure about the intentions of a woman coming to stay with him. In the episode, Kramer isn't the character everyone now knows, and Elaine isn't included. Seinfeld made some adjustments to its format, characters, stories, and approach right after its pilot episode, proving that it deserved its place on TV and, ultimately, making TV history mostly for the right reasons. New Girl MovieStillsDB. New Girl is a sitcom created by Elizabeth Merriweather, which aired on Fox from 2011 to 2018 for 7 seasons. New Girl follows Jess Day, Zooey Deschanel, a quirky teacher who, after finding out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, moves in with 3 strangers she found on the internet: Nick, Jake Johnson, Schmidt, Max Greenfield, and Coach, Damon Wayans Jr. New Girl's pilot episode does a great job of establishing the characters' personalities and the event that leads to Jess and the boys meeting, but the characters feel too over the top, especially when compared to the rest of the show. Jess, in particular, tries too hard to be quirky and different, but luckily, the show found its perfect balance right after the pilot. The Office. The Office is now one of the best sitcoms of all time, and it greatly improved after its weak pilot episode. Developed by Greg Daniels, as it's the American version of the BBC series of the same name, The Office takes its audience to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and into its branch of the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. Leading the show is regional manager Michael Scott, Steve Carell, and so the show follows him and his friends and colleagues in their daily lives. It's a simple but very entertaining concept, but that doesn't mean that writing the pilot episode was going to be easy. In it, Michael and the rest are introduced, and Michael learns that the company could be facing downsizing. The problem with The Office's pilot episode is that it was too similar to that of the original show, and that didn't translate well. The Office just needed more time to find its own voice, and the pilot became somewhat forgettable. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Even one of the best fantasy TV shows of all time had a weak pilot episode. Created by Joss Whedon, Buffy the Vampire Slayer introduces Buffy Summers, Sarah Michelle Gellar, the latest in a succession of young women chosen by fate to battle vampires, demons, and other forces of darkness. These women are known as Vampire Slayers, and so Buffy has to fulfill that mission. Buffy is aided and accompanied by her Watcher, Giles, and her friends Willow and Xander. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is relatable despite its fantasy elements and covers serious themes, but no one would have really guessed that from the pilot episode, which isn't bad but isn't the best either. Titled, Welcome to Hellmouth, the episode sees Buffy's arrival in Sunnydale, meeting Xander and Willow, and her first encounter with vampires in this town, with her new friends learning about her role as the Slayer. The story and characters are quite weak in this episode, the fights aren't well choreographed, and its biggest mistake was splitting its story with the second episode. Although it took Buffy the Vampire Slayer a couple more episodes to find its balance and perfect tone, the show eventually achieved it and found great success. Parks and Recreation. Parks and Recreation is one of the most popular cases of a TV show that had a weak start and went on to become one of the best TV shows of all time. Parks and Rec famously had a weak first season, as the show was originally planned as a spin-off of The Office, and the first episodes reflected that. Parks and Recreation takes viewers to the fictional town of Pawnee, Indiana, to meet Leslie Knope, Amy Poehler, a perky bureaucrat working at the Parks Department. Accompanying Leslie are her friends and colleagues from the Parks Department, with the show sharing the spotlight between all of them to follow them through different funny and serious situations. The pilot episode of Parks and Rec establishes the event that triggers the first season, the pit next to Anne's home, where Andy broke both his legs. However, Leslie and the rest of the Parks crew feel forced, cartoonish, and